A big night for the Phoenix Suns as the team's young players took to the court for the first time in NBA Summer League play as they took on the Golden State Warriors. We're going to break down the action from last night and go over some of the keys that we saw, some players that we want to spotlight, and we take a look at the team's rookies. We're going to break it all down for you guys right here on Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Thank you for joining us. Before we get into all of the details, we noticed that about 84% of you guys who have been watching our videos, which we appreciate, but you're not subscribed to the channel just yet, you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all of the latest Phoenix Suns news, rumors, and updates heading into next season. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing that we are going to have cooking for you guys over the rest of this summer. So let's get right into it. The Phoenix Suns opening summer league play yesterday, and unfortunately, it didn't go their way. The Suns fall to the Warriors in their summer league opener. The team kind of came out a little bit strong at the beginning of the first quarter, and then things kind of started to unravel over the course of the first quarter, and then they weren't ever able to really get themselves back into it as the Suns ended up losing to the Golden State Warriors in summer league play 90-73. Obviously, summer league play, it's going to be low scoring affair. It's a bunch of young players, guys that are fresh out of college, first and second year guys who have not played together, guys who have not even really been with the team. So seeing a score with 73 points, that's not something that I think, anyone should panic about. This isn't a referendum on Mike Budenholzer's offense that they only scored 73 points in a summer league game. But let's take a look at the stats from the game. The Phoenix Suns just weren't able to hit their shots last night, shooting 33% from the field, only hitting 6 3-point shots out of 32%. That's a little under 19%. That's not great. They're out rebounded by the Golden State Warriors 46-34. They're out assisted by the Warriors 22-13. They did rack up 13 steals. They did get 7 blocks, 19 turnovers. So that's not, the greatest sign of a cohesive unit. The assist number is probably the biggest thing that guys may want to harp on as we move forward into summer league. You want to get more assists. That means that there's been a lack of ball movement. There's some ISO ball going on. And again, that's something that can happen when you have guys that haven't played together very often. Let's take a look at some of the stats from the starting lineup. Some of the guys, obviously, that are going to keep our eye on over the course of summer league. First round pick Ryan Dunn, second round pick Oso Ighodaro. Both of them struggling a little bit at times, only scoring 6 points each. We're going to talk about them just in a little bit. Some guys I do want to highlight here in the starting lineup. David Roddy, 4 for 14 from the field. Not the greatest shooting numbers, but he did score 12 points. He shot the most shots out of any player on the team. Now, David Roddy, in this particular, he's probably one of the more experienced guys that's on the team. So the ball ending up in his hands a lot over the course of the game. But is he necessarily the guy that you want to be taking the most shots on the team? That remains to be seen. And then another guy to look at is Michael Devoe. We will also be talking about him a little bit later. Now, let's take a look at some of the bench numbers from the Phoenix Suns. And a lot of guys not really getting too many minutes. Jalen Bridges is probably the main guy here. He definitely struggled when he was on the court. The team had a minus 20 plus minus when Bridges was on the court. That's definitely not something that you want to see. Everyone that scored on the bench only scoring in double figures. So it's kind of a tough break for the Suns. They ended up going against a Golden State Warriors team that has some guys that played some pretty significant time. Brandon Pajemski is one of the players that Golden State brought in Summer League, and he played a very vital role. Expected to play an even more important role with the absence of Klay Thompson with Golden State. He was one of the players that was on the court playing well, and Golden State, I feel like, just had a little bit more firepower. They shot better from the field. They shot better from three. They out rebounded Phoenix. It just seemed like it was Golden State's night from the opening tip. But let's take a look at our Suns rookie watch. That's kind of going to be the story of Summer League, as I mentioned. The two rookies that the Suns acquired over the course of the NBA draft, which in a draft where there was highly speculated that the Suns would make any picks. It feels like the eyes are going to be on these rookies to see how they develop and what it could look like if they end up making an impact on the team this coming season. As we know that the Suns are focused on winning now. When you don't use the first round pick that you had, the number 22 overall pick, to get more assets in a trade, maybe involving Nasir Little, and instead you trade back and you acquire two picks that allow you to draft two players. There is some hope that these players are going to be able to contribute. So let's focus in on the first round pick, Ryan Dunn. First, again, as we mentioned, he struggled from the field, struggled to score offensively, and even though his forte is on the defensive end, there were a couple of lapses. He had some moments where he was good in one-on-one coverage, walling guys up at the point of attack, and he was good there. Struggled a little bit on help defense situations. There were a lot of situations where the Golden State Warriors guys were doing back cuts, cutting to the basket, and getting easy buckets at the rim. Even though the Suns did end up having 7 blocks, Ryan Dunn having 2 of those, he also had 3 steals, so he was getting in passing lanes. But it was more so in the situations where it was requiring him to show some help defense. Were the issues. He also had 4 turnovers, struggled a little bit with his ball handling. Again, he shot 3 for 7, 0 for 3 from 3-point range. We know that his shooting touch is the thing that's going to be probably has the most spotlight on it for Ryan Dunn. Was not the greatest shooter in college, and coming into the NBA, if he wants to make an impact, he's going to have to knock down some shots from the perimeter. Next guy we're going to focus on is Oso Ighodaro. The second round pick, he had some flashes. I thought he performed himself really well. He started at the 5 for the Suns. He's going to kind of plug into a more of a small man center, shooting 3 for 8 from the field. He had 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 blocks. It was a -7 and only scored 6 points, but he had some moments where I really thought that he uh, showed a lot of his talents. He had a really nice hook shot in the middle of the lane where he just kind of gave a nice little fake spin move, turned back and hit the hook shot with his left hand, which was really impressive. He also had a nice cut where he ended up slashing into the basket and got himself a nice two-hand flush, as you see in this photo right here. Really showed his athleticism, really showed that he's got a good motor to him. I think he's going to be a factor for the Suns on the defensive end once he, gets more acclimated to the system, and once the Phoenix Suns, start developing a little bit more chemistry in summer league. I don't think that this necessarily, the 2 rookies only scoring 12 points total. I don't think that's necessarily a sign. I think it's just a little blip on the radar. They played a pretty good Golden State Warriors team. I think the Suns will have some more opportunities moving forward into summer league here. Now, but let's take a player spotlight for a second, and let's talk about Michael Devoe. Now, this is a guy that is a little bit more of a journeyman. He's got more of a journeyman's story. Hasn't played a single lick in the NBA game. He's bounced around the G League. He's bounced around playing in overseas as well. Was undrafted in the 2022 NBA draft, but he showed himself a little bit in this summer league game. Again, he was led the team in scoring in this game. Now he didn't shoot particularly well, but he got to the free throw line a lot, and I think that is going to be a big deal over the course of summer league games. There tends to be a lot of fouling. Again, these are young players trying to learn the NBA game, but he really played well and attacked the basket a lot and got himself to the line quite often. He shot 13 times from the free throw line, making 11 of them. He shot 4 for 7 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3-point range. But he also had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. He did have a -11 plus minus, but I think that was more of a factor of the Suns having some lackadaisical moments on the defensive end. He ended up scoring 19 points in the game, which I think is really impressive for someone who's not necessarily going to be the focal point of what the Suns do in summer league. So I think he's a guy that the Suns may want to just keep their eye on over the course of the summer league. Remember, the Phoenix Suns have an open 2-way contract spot, which very likely could go to one of these guys on this summer league roster. But just to kind of go overall, big picture, Suns fall to the Warriors in their summer league opener. Rookies Ryan Dunn, also Ighodaro, not the greatest games, but they did have flashes. Ryan Dunn, particularly at the point of attack on defense. Also, Ighodaro showed some signs of having an offensive game that he could continue to develop. And Michael Devoe, kind of the standout, attacking the basket, getting to the line, and being an offensive spark for this Sun Summer League team. It'll be interesting to see as they move forward. They do have 4 games left over the course of Summer League. If they If they win out, they'll have they'll make the summer league playoffs, and then we'll see what happens after that. But that's all the time I got for you guys today. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate all the love and support. If you want to make sure that you're keeping up to date with all the latest Suns news and updates, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that we are going to have for you guys. We're going to keep following the Suns on Summer League. Obviously, if they make a move, particularly when it comes to signing a player to a two-way contract, if maybe there's a surprise trade in the mix, we'll break it all down for you guys right here. Thanks for joining us once again. My name is CJ Pierre. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time, and go Phoenix Suns.